Okay. If you guys did not know, Warner is being sold. There's been people that have been, I think this is the second round, if I'm not mistaken. There have been many companies that have put their bid. So far, they've said that, well, those bids are too low. And there are swirling reports right now that the Saudis, so the PIF again, is going to step in, much like they did with EA. And they are a front runner right now to take over Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, again, a lot can happen. This is just what's happening right now. And it says the company is at the center of a high stakes bidding war, and it's the PIF involving Comcast, Netflix, Paramount, which also is in debt. So I don't know how they're up there. But that's it's corporations, and now potentially the Saudi Public Investment Fund. The latest report suggests that PIF may be the surprise frontrunner in a 57 billion global media and entertainment takeover. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do want to talk about this and how people feel about it. I've seen folks on both sides of this, and everybody has their take. And I can empathize with both of them. You have those that are like, well, it's Saudis. More conservative culture, not conservative in the American sense, but conservative to them. And so a lot of the things, especially the political issues that seem to plague these properties, it'd be more preferable in the hands of the Saudis, which is just kind of a sad state of affairs if that's the case. On the other hand, you have those that are like, why in the hell are we allowing the Saudis in the Middle East, Asia, to take over all of these properties that we have? And I think that's a interesting point to bring up. But I do think that folks need to understand, and this is my position on this. I think people need to understand the type of landscape that we're in right now. And there's going to be a lot of shuffling of the deck with some of the mainstream stuff as the markets try to adjust themselves to the changing, rapid changing in their industries. You're not going to see a lot of new properties that are fresh and independent come up that are going to be as massive as like Warner and be worth $57 billion. I think personally those days are over with. But I do think that with, the Public Investment Fund has been pretty public about this as far as shaping their culture and having people have a more positive look on their culture. They have been looking into investing in subcultures to better that image. It's something that they have been pretty open with admitting. It's crazy how they seem to understand that, but the American right thinks culture doesn't even matter. But even the freaking Saudis understand that. That's horse crap. It does matter. I think you're going to see a lot of this happening in the future because they got a different type of money. And that's who would have to take these properties over. It would have to be guys with that type of money. And a lot of them are in the Middle East. I will, yeah, I can totally understand why someone's like, well, I don't know how I feel about Superman being owned by the Saudis. Or I don't know how I feel about this property being owned by the Middle East. Well, my argument is this. Your best bet, if you feel that way, because what you're saying is you want cultural prominence being led by Americans. And I totally get that. Unfortunately, the Americans have been or incapable of producing to that degree. This is why they're getting destroyed by like Japan with various properties now. If you're going to see a renaissance, I need you to understand it's not going to come from the dinosaurs. It's just the economic setup doesn't foster that type of growth. What you're going to get if you want that is going to come from smaller companies. They're going to be independent. And I'm not just saying this because I happen to be an owner of one of them. I'm just giving you the reality. If it's going to come from the West, if it's going to come from America, it's not. Don't expect it to be thrown in your face with some multi-billion-dollar company that's pushing it. No, with those, you're going to get a lot more of the same. You're going to get that same experience. That corporate experience is what you're going to get. And they own all the properties anyway. Folks in the independent sector, for the most part, don't even have the money to be able to purchase them off of them. So it's a pipe dream is what I'm trying to say. That's not a black pill. I'm just telling you people what I want you to do is do what your grandfathers, your grandmothers, and all of them innovate. Damn it, innovate. Stop relying on properties that are 100 years old. If you want to see some sort of like renaissance, cultural renaissance in gaming and comics and all the other things, it's not gonna come from the mainstream. It's not. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Do what your grandfathers did. Innovate. That's what they did. For whatever reason, especially like going into the 2000s, it's like America hit pause on innovation. This is why pretty much all of what you consume for the most part is coming from a corporation that's been around longer than you've been alive. Because you just, for whatever reason, we just hit pause. And there's nothing wrong with just understanding that maybe big time success does not look like multiple billions of dollars. Maybe that's just not how it looks anymore. Nothing wrong with that. So innovate. If you don't want the Saudis to be in control of your own entertainment, go innovate and create new properties. It's a simple solution.